As he took his place at the starting line, a few numbers ran through his head. 4 was the number of times he had competed in this race over the past 8 years. 8 was the number on his bib. 41 was the number of days since the dream he had had, the one in which he so clearly saw himself winning this very race. And looming largest of all was the number 27, because it represented a record that, if things went the way he expected them to, would fall today. Today is Friday, November 7th, 2025, and this week in 2009, Meb Keflezhigi won the New York City Marathon on his 5th try, becoming the first American man to claim the title in 27 years, and doing so in a personal best of 2:09:15. In this episode, I'll be joined by Meb himself to hear all about that historic November day in New York. I'm your host, Running Up That Hillary, and you are listening to Today in Running History. It is Fueled Friday, which means that today's episode is sponsored by Fuel Goods, my #1 partner for all of my running nutrition. I have been a subscriber to their runner box for the last 3.5 years, and every single time I receive one, it's like a mini Christmas present because even though I know it's coming, the contents are always a surprise. I recently received the October-November box, and I will show y'all a couple of the things that I will be bringing with me to Indianapolis for the Indy Monumental Half Marathon this weekend. For fuel, during the race itself, I got this gel from Honey Stinger in fruit smoothie flavor, and then I got these chews from Flow Formulas in pineapple passion fruit flavor. And then as soon as I finish the race, I will be heading back out to the course to cheer on some friends who are taking on the full marathon. And obviously, I won't have time to shower, so I am bringing this disposable shower sheet so that I smell like lavender instead of terrible. There is plenty of time to subscribe to the Fuel Goods Runner Box before they send out the December-January boxes, and you can use my code Hillary10 at checkout to save $10 on your first box. I will throw a link to their website in the episode description for y'all, and happy Fueled Friday. Now, let's talk about Meb Keflezhigi. He is arguably one of the most decorated American distance runners of all time, so I'm sure many of y'all are already familiar. Plus, I covered the 2004 Olympic Marathon in which he won the silver medal back in August. And even though he officially retired from competitive running 8 years ago, Meb remains incredibly involved and is one of the most visible figures in the world of American marathon running. But just in case anyone listening is unfamiliar, I'll give y'all the shortest and sweetest lesson in Meb 101. Meb Keflezhigi was born in 1975 in a part of Ethiopia that is today part of Eritrea. He immigrated to the US as a child and began running as a high school student in San Diego. He had a successful collegiate career running for UCLA and officially became an American citizen in 1998 when he graduated. Meb had lots of success on the cross-country course and the track and made his official debut in the marathon distance at the 2002 New York City Marathon exactly 23 years ago this week. He placed 9th that day, then returned to the New York City Marathon in 2004, 2005, and 2006, finishing 2nd, 3rd, and 20th, respectively. By the time he came back to run the New York City Marathon a 5th time in 2009, he had an Olympic medal, 3 podium finishes at World Marathon Majors, and had run sub 2:10 on 4 separate occasions. The only thing left for him to do was win, a victory he thought of as the American dream personified. Now, instead of hearing any more of this inspiring story from me, let's go ahead and welcome Meb to Today in Running History and hear about the day that dream came true. All right, I am here with Meb Keflezhigi, the winner of the 2009 New York City Marathon. How are you doing today, Meb?
I'm doing well, Hillary. How about yourself?
I am good. We both just got back from Chicago, so still recovering.
I know we were talking offline in a little bit, so congratulations on your huge PR. So that's awesome to see. I didn't run. You get
Thank
to
you.
run it with good weather, and you were part of the Conor Mans and others outstanding day. I had an athlete that ran there.
Okay.
But congratulations to you on this amazing
Thank you so much.
accomplishment.
Yeah, it could not have been better weather. And yeah, I think Connor and I were on the course at the same time for maybe 3 minutes or something, but we were on the course at the same
You were on
time.
the
So
course.
it counts, totally counts. And it was the same finish line once I eventually got there.
That's the beauty of the sport. You go out there and, front of the pack, middle of the pack, or the back of the pack is the same course, same water stations and whatnot, and support and cheers. So it's you and then becomes you on the road, but everybody have different stories, different goals to accomplish their dreams.
Absolutely. And you have run quite a few marathons. So I do want to talk about some of them. Obviously, New York City 2009 is a highlight. But for anybody listening who doesn't have full story of your background, could you give us a super high level of how you got into running and then specifically how you got into running marathons?
Absolutely. I started running when I was in seventh grade physical education class at Roosevelt Junior High down in San Diego, California. And the reason for that was my two oldest brothers ran a t-shirt that says, they had a shirt that says Roosevelt Mile Club t-shirt, and my parents expected us to get an A in the class and E as a citizenship. So I worked hard for that. I was more of a soccer player before that, but that PE class, the PE teacher, Coach DeClore, said, if you run hard, you're gonna get A or a B. If you mess around and go for a round, you're gonna get D or F. And he had the hardest job because it wasn't on the track four loops. It was more like start next to the zoo and then the tennis court, going to the softball field, and then go out middle of the campus, and then go down the ramp, and then do a little bit around the baseball field as well, and then finish up the ramp and finish in the middle of the campus. And to get an A was 6:15 for the boys, 8 minutes for the girls, and seven for the seventh graders. And to his surprise and mine, I end up running 5 minutes and 20 seconds. And he immediately said, "You're gonna go to the Olympics." But growing up in Eritrea in East Africa, and then I didn't see television till I was 10 years old. I grew up without electricity, no running water, so I have no idea what the word Olympic meant. I'm like pointing out to the t-shirt, hey, and then he says, you're gonna go to the Olympics. And then I went that afternoon and asked my dad, what's the Olympics? And my dad explained to me how the world gets in peace and harmony every 4 years for friendly competition. That's how I learned about it. And the rest is history. I improved 10 seconds by my seventh grade to 5:10, and it was fun. I enjoyed it, gave me a lot of self-esteem. I was known as the fastest seventh grader and given high fives, thumbs up, and kept going high school. And then when I was in ninth grade, when I started competing with 5Ks, and one of the parents for my teammate Mike Anderson said, "You're gonna be a beautiful marathoner." I'm like, "How far is that?" And 26.2 miles. I'm like, "Never mind. I'm never gonna do a marathon." So, but he saw how my pace in cross country was, and I can maintain a good pace, and he saw that. And then high school, I was a national champion and state champion, and then eventually got my first scholarship to UCLA, and I was a 5K, 10K, and 1500-meter runner at UCLA. So professionally, I did a 5K, 10K, and cross country, and then it went well. And then in 2002, after the Olympic, making the Olympic team, after getting the American record in the 10K in 2001. In 2002 was an off year. There's no Olympics, no World Championship here. I said, let me see, try this, what this marathon is all about. And I did the New York City Marathon, and in 2002, because the New York Runners was supporting our club in Mammoth Lakes, I decided, what, let's see what this is all about. And I went for it, and I remember you have doubts at times. Is my body gonna make it? How it's gonna be? And I remember asking my good friend and training partner, Dina Castor, how am I supposed to go at this pace when I could only do 15? How am I supposed to go another 11 miles? But she's like, don't worry about it. The long runs and intervals and tempos will all come together, and it did. And on that race, I felt great. I have the lightest shoes probably that you would use on the track if you're having Achilles issues, and it was cold weather. I felt great though. 1617 First Avenue, New York. They come to support. Everybody shows up, and I felt great. Take the lead, and then I put cold water on my head about 19 miles. It shut the engine off, 38 degrees. Been sitting there for 2, 3 hours, almost frozen. And I took my gloves away and my beanie away, and I was freezing. And then I finished the race. For the Olympic age standard, you have to run 2:12 or faster, and I end up getting ninth place and around 2:12:35. I say, I'm not running another 26.2 miles about 35 seconds makes no sense. And this is my first marathon, last marathon. I don't want to do it again. But, things change. I came back for 25 other ones.
Yeah, and then so you ended up running Chicago after that, right? And so that first one in New York City, what is your most vivid memory? And do you remember thinking, I will never be on this course again at the time?
Absolutely. I mean, I froze, and my last 10K were like 37 minutes and like slower than recovery runs. As I talk in my book, 26 marathons, there's more details of it. Oh, you got it right
I
there.
got it. And you
Awesome.
signed it at one point. Yeah.
Awesome. I appreciate it. There's a lot of great stories there in detail, but yes, I said never again. And then my mom, who saw me run 5K, 10Ks at times, she says, 5K, 10K, yes, no more marathons for you. My dad was trying to give me a massage, trying to keep me warm, and I was miserable. I hated it. And I went 2 weeks later, I went back to Eritrea with my mom for the first time since I left Eritrea when I was 10 years old. I was at 27 years old, so literally 17 years later is when I'm going to Eritrea and I saw how people were living. Uh, I had a revelation that don't complain about your marathon. There's people who wake up at sunrise and until sunset they're working tirelessly and using the moon to my cousins, my very own cousins, going like 11 or midnight loaded with donkeys in the wilderness of things like that. Just, I mean, there was no path. It just boulders and rocks and things like that. So I said, I got no room to complain. My good friend and teammate, Dad Ninago, said, he just went some discomfort. And he was right. I was the last 40 minutes of the New York City Marathon was some discomfort. But when I banged into Eritrea, how people were living, I came back motivated. And in fact, I wanted to do Boston Marathon, but my coach Bob Larson talked me out of it because New York and Boston were similar courses. We need to put you on a flat course, which was Chicago. I done one and only time, and I end up going for the Olympic age standard that I talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Stopped to 12, and I didn't go for the win for that race. I just went for the time, and I had a pacer that's supposed to go about 16 to 18 miles, but he stopped at mile 8 and struggling. Had some issue hamstring, so he was going to run New York 3 weeks later or so. So I ran by myself, but I ran 2:10:03. I tried hard to break that 2:10, but I didn't. I ran 2:10:03, and but I fell in love with the marathon, and I went for in fact for another 10 minutes or so for cool down. So I knew then that hey, marathon can be fun if you pace
Yeah.
yourself. You don't have to do. I didn't hit the wall, so it was kind of quite pleasant.
Yeah. There's a level, it's always gonna be uncomfortable at some point. There's never gonna be if you are not hurting at least a tiny bit at some point during a marathon, you should probably run a little faster. But there's a huge difference between one that you feel good and one that you just feel like you're about to die. So I definitely
I was
definitely get
about
that.
to die with New York and feeling good and controlling the pace and finishing stronger, like really fast with a kick and cool down was Chicago Marathon. So yes, if you manage yourself as an elite athlete, sometimes when you're going for a win or top five, top 10, you are dictated by how others are doing, even though your
Yeah.
fitness not there. If you want to go top finish in the podium, if six people go, you have to go with them.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if it's just one person, you're like, okay, let them go and we'll catch them a little bit. So but as an everyday athlete, they always tell my athletes that you can run your own race and pace yourself and finish stronger.
Absolutely. So, Chicago in 2003, you got the Olympic A standard. You went on to the Olympic trials. You made the Olympic team and you medaled at the Olympics in Athens. So, a whirlwind of all of that. How did the medaling at the Olympics and the marathon, how did that stack up? Were you amazed? Were you in shock, or was it something that you knew in your heart you could accomplish?
Hillary, that's a great question. It might take 2 hours to describe that, but I will make it quick. So it was a dream come true, first of all, and that dream was set when I first made on my Olympic team in Sydney, Australia, in the 10K. I finished 12th, but I ran a PR, but it was not the goal I wanted to get in the top 10. But before I left the stadium in Sydney, Australia, I said to myself internally, I'm happy to represent red, white, and blue. to represent our country with the singlet, but I want to do something greater. I want to win a medal for our country. And when I said that, honestly, it was more in the 10K because I have not done a marathon. But going to Athens Olympics, I made the 10K team. I was a national champion, American record holder, and Olympic trial champion as well. And the marathon, Alan Culpepper beat me the trials, and I was the 39 fastest guy in the field. So the chances of doing which one would to do well for me was the 10K. But Coach Larson, Coach Jovijo, Dina Casser, and myself and others worked in the United States Olympic Committee and United States Track and Field. We put our heads together to see it's going to be hot, hilly, and humid. So there's not going to be course record or world record on that day. So we put ourselves together to train very smart, very hard, and get ready for the obstacles that are going to be challenging. And we did it in Mammoth Lakes. So my goal was, I remember to answer your question, when I was viewing the course like a week before or days before, I tell my coach Bob Larson, I said, "This is not a hill. We train for the mountains. This is not bad." And he goes, "What do you think you could run?" I'm like, "I could run to 12 or so." And he said, "If you run to 12, you're gonna medal," because everybody was anticipating 215 Paul Turgot, who had the world record from Kenya, to 0455 was gonna demolish the, win by a mile. But marathon's competition. So going to the race, I had to believe in myself and my team, and obviously we were well prepared with Dina Castor and myself. And when she won the bronze medal, it gave me a confirmation that I was on the right path, and it was wonderful to be able to win the the Athens Olympic. And the reason I decided to do that is because Greek was the Olympic started, Athens where the main original course is. Instead of doing the 10K, that's the reason I did that. And man, I still get goosebumps sometimes talking about it because I don't talk about those races as much because I talk a lot about Boston and other races. But it was a moment that realization. That's what I was 10 years old. So in my day of visualization, I was visualizing. I met my dad in Athens. It's where the Olympics were started, and all those things. And to be in the race and to represent your country and your dream is gonna come. And I wasn't gonna be picky. I just want to win a medal for our country and help the resurgence of U.S. distance running. But I went for it, and as soon as I passed bronze medal, and then going for the gold, Stefano Boldini ended up having a better day, but I had a fabulous day.
Absolutely. And yeah, I'm getting goosebumps as well. I had Dina on the show last month as well to talk about her experience at the Athens Olympics. And it's so cool having y'all train together in California and then both of you ending up on the podium at the Olympics. Such an amazing story.
We both were living about a mile away from each other, and sometimes you hear about the Kenyan dominance or Ethiopian dominance, but that day or that marathon, it was two people from Mammoth Lake, which is about 7,500 people.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Now, after the Olympics, obviously you had set the bar very high. So to live up to that was gonna take quite a bit. What made you decide to return to run New York City again?
So I was already signed up for New York City Marathon before even the Athens Olympics. I knew what my body could do, and debating we should do the 10K and then have a fresh lift for New York, but I went with a marathon, and it was the right decision for me. And I was already signed up for New York, but I wanted to win New York as well. 70 days later, make sure I recovered and get my feet underneath of me. But most people, naysayers, there's a lot of naysayers. They thought it was a fluke. That was my fourth marathon, and got a silver medal, and it was kind of out of nowhere, but we trained for it, and I wanted to prove people wrong that it was not a fluke, and I always wanted to win New York, including my first debut in 2002. I just hit the wall hard. So there was a belief that you can do it, and then definitely after winning the silver medal, I'm like, I think I can do it. And then obviously when I went to the starting line, I thought I was ready for it as well. And Hendrik Ramallah ended up winning because at the water station, about 40K into it, I was going for the Boston Marathon winner, more concerned because Hendrik Ramallah has not won a race before that. So I'm like, I need to be with the Boston Marathon champion. Then he made a gap, and then that gap stayed the same. I'm like, we supposed to go for him. We supposed to go for him. No, we're not. So I tried to go, but he created the gap so much early that we maintained, and he was so tired. he didn't even cross the finish line tape because when people, Mayor Bloomberg and others were holding the finish line, he went to the other side because he was that much tired. But like, but I couldn't close the gap, and I feel very proud of getting second place
Sure.
and a run, which I also ran my PR that day, so it was just a win for me. I didn't get that first place that I always wanted, but I was like, okay, this is good. I'm happy to recover from Athens Olympics, and now got second in New York, and I can work toward that to try to win it that and also the Boston Marathon.
Awesome. And then you return to New York again. So you've done New York quite a few times. And so it took a few times before you actually did win because you got third another one of the times.
Yeah, 2005, that was also after August 8th. I remember vividly. I ruptured my right quad at the Helsinki World Championship. So I already signed up for New York again. New York Roadrunners has been an amazing partner to me through ups and downs of my career, and they kind of helped me make who I am, and I'm grateful for that always. And yes, I do only did single days runs because I ran out of time. I got healthy and then cross train and then get my feet underneath of me and then train. But I did a lot of bike riding up in the mountain in Mammoth Lakes. In fact, going to the race, they have the defending champion, the world record holder, and a lot of other Kenyans and Ethiopians and that have run very fast. But I said, you know what, I belong in this field, and just kind of looking back on my history, second Olympics, second in New York, and like maybe this is the time, but I got it down to them three with three of us with about a mile and a half or so to go, and then my calves start hurting. I just said, you know what, I finished third. I came within 3 seconds of my PR, and I said, if I could just stay healthy, it gave me a confirmation that I can win this thing. I just need to be healthy and train. And if I could do this with the minimum time after injury, I think I got it. And finishing third, it was pretty awesome. And to the Paul Turga world record holder and the defending champion, Helendra Kramala. And, try to get another crack at it and try to do that again in the future.
Yeah. Were you disappointed at all with third, or was it just all things considered a satisfying result?
I was ecstatic of getting third
Okay.
place. I said, I know. I mean, these are the best of the best, and they had the ideal train. I didn't, and I'm like, it kind of gave me hope that I can stay healthy and can still get after it. No, I'm never disappointed in races that I finished third or fourth or fifth. I mean, you talking about the biggest marathon in the world. No,
Sure.
I was definitely happy to be there and finishing third, and but I just want to get another crack at it, hopefully in the near future.
Yeah, it's always in my mind. I can't even comprehend being disappointed with any of your results. I like your slowest marathon ever is still like way
No,
more
no.
so.
I mean, it's not disappointing. The only disappointment probably maybe I'm addressing it too early, but probably was the 2007 trials that
Yeah,
I wanted to win. I want to go to the Olympic team and try to win another medal, but maybe we could address after. Before that we did, Boston also 2006, finishing third, and I went hard, world record pace, and then I crashed, and Kenyan had a false rabbit. They brought their own rabbit because Boston doesn't have rabbits. And I went for it, and then kind of cost me quite a bit. But having that win that USA jersey, people cheer you on and finishing third. And then now I'm like, I'm due for a win here. Second, third. I'm like, when is that win gonna come? And especially New York because they were hosting the trials and where I got a lot of name recognition. I was excited. I had 5-1 odd to win it and go to the Olympics, to Beijing, and hopefully win another medal. That was my goals, but unfortunately, I didn't get what I thought I would. I probably overdid it looking for that win. I was lean. I was best summer I ever had in terms of competing, running under 28 minutes for 10K at the time was huge. And I was excited, but but a bigger disappointment or loss was my good friend Ryan Shea, who passed away during that race and of a cardiac arrest. So and then that put things in life in perspective. But then I really realized then also that like maybe my career's over because I'm not making another Olympic team. But life Olympics kind of put in perspective. But at the same time, I was definitely contemplating retirement.
wow. looking at everything that happened with your career after that, it's crazy to think that even occurred as a possibility. But that's just a testament to, not giving up when there is disappointment. And then you did come back to New York City. So let's talk about November 1st, 2009. What were you feeling that morning? Staten Island, like where was your mind, and did you know that that was going to be a special day?
Yeah, I mean, Hillary, if I can say with one sentence, 2007 November, I remember praying about it. My wife here down, and I prayed about it, saying, "Hey, if the silver medal is the end of it, the 10K American record the end of it, I'm okay with it. I have to accept it." But I know internally there was more in the tank. That's before I left New York City. I told them, Howie, my brother and manager, and Jordanos, I said, "I guess my Olympics will be the New York City Marathon," thinking that in 2008. But 2008. I spent a whole year and a half rehabbing because what eventually I was diagnosed with a pelvic stress fracture, even though I didn't realize it for 10 weeks. I mean, yeah, I think like 10 weeks or so. I was just dealing with it. And then, you know, I sent a text to Mary Wittenberg, who was the CEO of New Yorker Runners. I said, 2009, this is the year after Houston Marathon. And then went to London, ran a PR and marathon, and then on November 1st, I had a dream to win the New York City Marathon in September of 2009 because the Great North Run was happening that morning. I got excited in the morning and I said, Jordanos, I had a dream I won the New York City Marathon. I was like, well, do you want to know what happened at the Great North Run? I'm like, no, what happened? She's like, Martin Le ran 59 something, and then Joachim from Morocco ran 60 flat. I'm like, ooh. I guess I should say goodbye to that dream, but then I realized after a minute or so, I said they picked too soon. They got to pick in November. So coming to November 1st, um, I went to bed like October 31st, Halloween. I went to bed early, like 9:45 to get a good night's sleep, and I got up at 11:15 the same night, October 31st. And I didn't get my sleep. But come to the November 1st, it was a little misty. My socks got wet, my jersey got wet, and people were working. David Monty and his wife, they were working to get my socks dried and from the cold of the ground wet and all that stuff. So in the race, I said it was two races going on. There was the USA Championships. It was the international field. It was the marathon was also the USA Championship. So I'm like thinking, hey, I could be the top American and see what it takes me, and then also try to win. So within that, probably I think with about 16 miles or so, there was three other Americans, and then I'm like, okay, now, maybe I could be top American, but then I realized I had a great tune-up race before in San Jose where I ran 101 for my half marathon. So I know I was fit, and I just kept pushing and pushing. And First Avenue, I just says, okay, I made this mistake before. Just hold on tight. And then, Jordan's my wife always says, you do all the hard work and the people finish stronger than you do. So I'll take that cognitive thinking and kept going on going. And it came down to Robert Chariot and I, and James Combine was there, who was also a 203 guy. It was an amazing field, but wearing that USA jersey, and I did the cross where Ryan Shea passed away and got away from Robert Chariot, and as I come to Central Park, and I just said the next 400 meter is your thing. Just get away from him. And I did. And then the rest is about 1 mile to go. I start celebrating probably, but I'm like, that's too early. That's too early. Just hold on, hold on. And coming to Central Park, it was an amazing experience. I mean, New York has been my favorite marathon for a long time, and the dream that I wanted to win it and to have that USA jersey and to have Garib, who was also the silver medal from the Olympics in Beijing, and the Boston Marathon, four-time Boston champion, and it was stacked field, and what a joy it was to just chant USA, USA, come in Central Park and point into that jersey, and my dream did become a reality, and it was just a beautiful sight, and eventually cried into tears because that's what happens, I guess, when dreams and reality meets.
Oh, I cried on Sunday. I was just amazed that I was able to to finally hit my goal. So I could only imagine actually winning the race, how emotional that would be. That's such a fantastic story. How did you celebrate that day?
Whew, looking back, I think it was more, I like to have protein. My wife and my mom and my took my two kids were there, and my wife was expecting for our third one, and Howie and Coach Larson and both my parents, and just the New York Roadrunners do an amazing job to have a celebration afterward. And man, I mean, it's kind of like pinch me moment that this actually happened. And obviously, we got a limousine going to the Knicks game, New York Knicks, sitting right in the front on the floor next to Spike Lee and things like that. It was an amazing. And then going to the next day, going to the Empire State Building, and it was the Ratatouille from Ethiopia who won it that year. We have to go this, like, you got elevator, and then after that you have to go on foot on the stairs. I'm like, man, this is tough. But I recovered okay. That one, and then the Athens Olympics was probably one of my strongest finishes. But I was okay. But no, it's just being able to celebrate with your team and people who believed in you for so many years. It was awesome and experience of a lifetime.
That's great. And as somebody who has run New York City quite a few times, what is your favorite part of the course?
The course is an easy one for me. I tell them Central Park is my favorite part because that's what I spend. I mean, I done twice or three times around on West Side Road, West Side Highway, but I love Central Park with the color changing and finish line and the bridle path and things like that. So I just tell people try as much as you can to save something for Central Park, where don't do what I did in 2002, where you're like, oh my gosh, when is this gonna come? But if you can save some energy and come through it, it's the best feeling. And then I think is the crowd lift you up, and yeah, it was an amazing experience. And obviously, like I was telling you earlier before we got to the recording, that what a wonderful joy it was when I won the New York City Marathon to be on David Letterman's show.
Yeah.
And I was nervous for that because they're constantly changing what's going on, and there was some funny humor, good ones. There's a couple of them. It's like I said, one, I wish I brought the correct change for the Verzona Bridge, or and the other one was, I hope that was Gatorade, or uh, is that a crime scene, or finish line tape, or or hamstring, or it was joy, or the other one was about Mayor Bloomberg. I don't want to say that one, but they made me say it. And then that was, who's that little boy waving at me? Oh, that's Mayor Bloomberg.
Oh.
So there was so many great things, but it was fun. It was fun to be able to win the New York City Marathon, and then eventually did the Macy's Thanksgiving Parade, also to be with Katie Stam, who was the Miss USA, to be on the Statue of Liberty uh, boat and be able to just embrace that. And it was pretty incredible time.
That's great. Now, a lot of people are getting ready to run New York City, many, many of them for the first time. I just ran for my first time last year in New York. What advice do you have for first-time New York marathoners?
Man, New York is, I mean, people come to visit New York, and to be a runner, to run the TCS New York City Marathon it's a joy. You go through the five boroughs, the city shut down for you to be able to just have a journey. My advice to them is just save your energy, run your own race. Don't, because some people might be the 10th New York, or my 13th New York, and you don't know. So just run your race, save something for Central Park, and finish really, really strong in Central Park, and enjoy what the city has to offer, because you get to run it, but also there's so many other things to do before and after.
Very true. Will you be out there this year?
Yes, I'll be there early. I'm actually getting there on Tuesday before the Sunday race. So
Oh, wow. You'll be
New
there.
York
Wow.
is I love going to New York. I love spend time there, and I'll be very busy, but looking forward to it.
Very cool. And obviously, you went on to also win the Boston Marathon. How would you rank the Boston Marathon win, the Olympic medal in the marathon, and the New York City Marathon win? I know that's hard, but where would you put the three if you had to rank them?
I don't know, Hillary. I don't know if you have kids yet, but it's kind of choosing which one is your favorite kid. That's hard to do.
That's true. Yeah, I have two kids and I couldn't answer that
But
question, so that's fair.
no, but I can try. I think it is. They all have been a big milestone in my career. I mean, to win the silver medal in 2004, that was the highlight. I mean, what else do to go in Athens and win a medal, and then to now go to Beijing and win that my personal gold medal or another Olympic medal was the New York City Marathon that I set a goal. I couldn't wait another 4 years or contemplating retirement, and now he come back and win that. It was huge. But the most meaningful victory for me is the Boston Marathon after the catastrophic and chaos of 2013. I missed the bombing by 5 minutes. I had an appointment. Otherwise, I would have been there and I know what would have happened and things like that. And so it was personal for me and as was for many other runners. And Boston Strong, they, came in 2014, April 2014, and the city came and 36,000 people came to support, to show resilience. And the people that didn't finish get a second opportunity, get the magical finish line. And I was just fortunate enough to lead the pack and have the name of the victims on my bib, Crystal, Martin, Sean, and Lindsay. And to draw inspiration, I was nervous to write them down because of sponsors, but it went viral and to carry them through that. And I tell them this is the last thing I tell my coach Bob Larson. I said, "Don't worry, you're not gonna see me in the last 5K of the marathon." But 5 miles into it, with 21 miles to go, I made a move because the emotion was so intense. The riding on the streets and so yes, I mean, people were doing the waves, and no American has won in 31 years. I mean, what a chanting USA, USA, and what a great honor it was to be able to win it for the people and for me, for my family, and for the United States, and also for the world to just chant USA, USA, where it was a war zone in
Yeah.
2013. So to be able to do that, I mean, God had a better plan for me. Not we don't want that, but for 365 days, I was visualizing that. In fact, I tell on April 15, 2013, I told Bonnie Ford, I hope to be healthy enough to win it for the people. To say that on the bombing day and then to be able to come back, win it, and to get, and then to get it hit me when Prince Barack Obama called the next day and said, "Job well done," and that's when I realized, oh my,
That's
I
amazing.
realized my dream to win it, but how big of a magnitude that was that, and then to be invited to go to the White House and to have dinner with President Barack Obama, First Lady Michelle Obama, and then President Jimmy Carter on the same table. It was pinch me moment, especially where my
Yeah.
upbringing was to that. It was magical, magical, but. So therefore, that's the most meaningful victory in my career. And
Wow.
still is my fastest time ever.
Yeah.
I've done 26 other marathons, but that was my goal was to win top three or run a personal best, and I was able to accomplish all three of those.
That's awesome. And I know you went back to Boston once. Would you run New York City again for the Meb Foundation or just for fun? Or I know you've mentioned wanting to run a marathon with your daughter. Where does New York look like in the future for you?
Yeah, my daughter Fiore, she's a cross country runner. I'm also coach at her high school, Plant High School now, and she's been wanting to do marathons since probably she was 13. She wanted me to do. I'm like, no, you can't do until you're 18 and things like that. I was able to now, hopefully she'll be 18 next year. And if she decides to do that, I would love to do it with her. And yes, I would love to. I mean, if the body holds, it's still a little bit nagging injury here and there. But I ran for them a foundation in Boston, MR8, the 8-year-old boy that killed in the bombing. And then I ran for Team for Kids in New York with the foundation for their fundraising, and then but I think I might have one more to do for the foundation, but also maybe other opportunities if they provide. But I want to enjoy them. I don't want to make it get there. It used to be get there ASAP, but I don't
Sure.
want to do that anymore. I want to take my time if I ever do them again.
Awesome. That is a great answer. Well, Meb, thank you so much for your time today. I hope you have an awesome time at New York City. I was going to say weekend, but you'll be there a whole week. So New York City Marathon week. And hope to see you running another marathon in the future.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me, Hillary, and keep up the great work and keep running strong.
Thanks. Wow, such a great conversation. And I love that even after winning, Meb came back and ran New York City 6 more times, including his final professional race in 2017. That is all I have for y'all today, but I want to give a huge thank you to Meb for being my guest and to all of y'all for continuing to tune in. Please make sure to like, subscribe, comment, share, turn on alerts, and then send this episode to someone who just ran the New York City Marathon or someone who wants to in 2026. Once again, it is Fueled Friday, and listeners of the pod can save $10 off of your first runner box from Fuel Goods by using my code Hillary10 at checkout. Join me next time to hear about an Irish long jumper and his protests at the 1906 Olympic Games, games which most people don't even realize happened in the first place. I'm your host, Running Up That Hillary, and this has been Today in Running History. And this week in 2009, Meb Keflezhigi, 2009? That's not a word. Okay. Plus, I covered him, no. Let's just restart that whole sentence. Because I got like loud, like weirdly loud in the middle of that. Okay. In which he won the silver medal. And then here's the interview. Hey, Meb. Oh, hey, Hillary. That was cool that you won the New York City Marathon. Yeah, I ran that once. So basically, we're the same. We're both really successful. Yeah, it's really true. Okay. Here we go. It's not weird. They have a 1906 Olympics.